Hey guys, so welcome back to the letter. I think we've just finished with Marianne's chapter last episode. But I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure we're moving on to the next chapter, so let's continue here. Yep, cool, Rebecca. Nice. Our fifth character, I think, out of the 7 we get to control. So let's check out the journal. Rebecca Gales, April 1 is her birth date. She's an Aries and she's 29 years old. She's a 5'5", which is pretty short. She's a history teacher, she's Scottish, she's an atheist raised to Kirk, she has a master's degree in education, major in European history, she likes stovies, reading in the library, going to the gym, cycling and jogging, lacrosse, and lessons plans. Because those are always interesting, apparently. Although of Scottish descent, she grew up in Luxbourne and even went to school in St. Goretti. Her parents were professors of European history and Southeast Asian history at Luxbourne University. They were often busy, and that forced Rebecca to be independent early on. Surrounded by books and instilled with a love for learning, she was a star pupil and was often called a teacher's pet for it. Her passion for academics, leading to a career in the industry, was to be expected of her. She came out of her shell in her high school years and started becoming the spitfire she is now. Before then, Ashton was her only friend, though she found him aggravating at first. That sounds familiar. It's like a certain Filipino we know, doesn't it? Independent and used to taking care of others, it was no surprise when she helped out the young foreigner who moves in next door. Speak of the devil. Okay, so she's Scottish. I'm not going to probably do a Scottish accent for this one. I mean, I was rewatching my videos and I could hear my Irish accent just completely pitiful, just horrendous. So I'm just going to stick to my normal voice for now. Yeah, anyway, let's go. This is how it begins, or so they say. With a gentle wind drifting through wide-open windows, muffled laughters and footsteps fading behind empty hallways, and the light kiss of the afternoon sun. Soon there will be a call, a crossing of thresholds into the unknown. Maybe we're off to some grand adventure, or diving into another gripping mystery. One can't really tell. For all I know, a hero might even come sweep me off my feet if I'm lucky.
That's not exactly a bad thing when you think about it.
But this is far from one, isn't it? A riveting tale, that is. October 21. Cool. The mild breeze, the faint murmurs, the warm rays painting every nook and cranny a fiery hue. They're all as real as they can get. As much as I want to write a little tale out of this, I'm far from someone who can. Fleeting fancies, that's what these are. Merely passing thoughts to occupy an idle mind, while waiting for another busy workday to end. Then again, maybe in another life, I am one. Who knows? But at present, what I have and what I've chosen to be, well...
I won't last years here if I find teaching rowdy adolescents a tedious job, will I?
No, you'd have chosen the wrong profession. Admittedly, the whole affair isn't exactly as grand or exciting as I'd imagined as a child. If I weren't so stubborn and too passionate about the whole idea, I probably would have quit a long time ago. But it's always the kids that make it worthwhile, isn't it? As if in agreement, as soon as my pen slides into a neat circle against the papers I'm grading, the final bell rings. Like a dam that has been opened. Students begin piling out into the hallway soon after. For a short minute, I let the noise fill my ears, let my mind wander to a place far removed from all the hubbub. I like that word. Solitary moments like this have come few and far between lately. Even my own home hasn't been as quiet as I usually prefer. Though, in hindsight, the entire place hasn't been the same either, since Isabella moved in next door. And if her fussing over a minor cold last week tells anything, I might as well throw any idea of solitude out the nearest balcony, so long as she lives nearby. At the memory, my eyes automatically shift over the bottle sitting at the edge of my desk. A chuckle escapes from me as I reach for it. Oh, this is the medicine that Isabella left, so... Oh wow, so we're on the very first day that we ever played, isn't it? Yeah, see, there's the medicine there. Cool. Okay, so this is when Isabella found the letter, actually.
A little ball of energy and enthusiasm. That big baby.
Mother Hen, she calls me. And then says and does the same thing right after. It's not that I'm unused to being on the receiving end of other people's worries, or I feel any sort of apprehension over her fretting. If I'm to be completely honest, it's actually amusing how someone can be childlike one minute, then act like a responsible adult the next. But there's a dissonance there, both in her actions and words. Although she may not look like it, may not say anything, may not lose her cheer, one way or another, I know these troubles have weighed down on her lately. Her face says it all, that big numpty. If she thinks I won't notice, she's got another thing coming for her. That's how she always has been. I do understand that part loud and clear. It's just that I'd really rather not pass another burden onto her.
Or become one myself.
Aren't I supposed to be the one taking care of them? Though I guess that's simply one of those things people eventually go away from once you've started all leading different lives. Not completely different, I hope. Somehow the thought makes me feel uneasy. Thankfully, before stranger ideas can take root in my head, a faint buzzing comes from my bag, cutting through the rest of my thoughts. A small frown forms on my lips when the screen lights up and an unknown number flashes. For a long second my thumb hovers over the answer button. Even the voice that responds, once I do accept the call, is wholly unfamiliar.
Hello?
Oh, goodness. Finally it connects. Hello? Is this Miss Gales? Rebecca Gales?
Yes,
Speaking.
Yes, speaking. Who is this?
Oh, sorry. Rose Cooper. Briar Realty Corporation.
Oh. Wow, she sounds so different.
Briar Realty?
Maybe it's because her picture's not on the phone. My frown deepens as I straighten from my chair. Something in her tone, despite sounding remarkably friendly and light, doesn't sit quite well with me. The rigid pause that follows doesn't help ease the tension that has suddenly descended either.
Miss Cooper?
Yes. Things are a bit busy on my end. I apologize.
Oh yes, that's right, because Isabella fainted, and Rose called Rebecca.
I'm not certain if Isabella has mentioned anything before, but we're working together on a property at the moment, and...
The Ermengarde Mansion, yes. She said something about that earlier. Is there a problem?
This is about Isabella, actually.
She wastes no time relaying everything. The details she provided are admittedly a bit vague, but enough for me to get a gist of what happened. It isn't the bad sort I'm expecting, though still worrying, especially with words panic attack and pale, looking a bit sickly, woven together in one foreboding sentence. But as quickly as it surfaces, I stomp down on the urge to demand answers right there and then. Now isn't the proper time for useless questions. I'll find out soon enough regardless. To Miss Cooper's credit, she neither hesitates nor falters all throughout. There's some sort of comfort in knowing Isabella has someone like her to guide her, though not as much as I would have liked. After all, this is Isabella we're talking about. What are the chances she just said a bunch of excuses so she won't get sent home? High. Very high. Oh, she is so going to hear it this time.
You were listed as one of her emergency contacts, so I thought it'd be best you know about this.
How is she? Is she doing okay?
I had her take a break for now, but honestly, I'd feel better if someone were to pick her up and take her home for some rest. Anthem's a fair distance from Luxbourne. I really don't want her going off on her own. I'd do it myself, but oh, you know how it is today. Big day. People everywhere until the open house ends. I'm really sorry to ask this of you, Miss Gales. I know you're busy.
Oh, no, it's all good. I was just about to leave from work. I hope to leave early today anyway. A few minutes ahead wouldn't hurt. I can be there in a few, 30, 40 minutes tops. Is that all right?
It's pretty far away.
More than fine, Miss Gales, thank you. We're supposed to be here until... Oh, excuse me. One moment, please. Yes, ma'am.
The faint hum of conversation echoes from her end. It sounds as though the place is buzzing with more people than you'll expect from a regular open house. I was skeptical at first. The house is old, not to mention its inconvenient location in Luxbourne's outskirts. Who wants to live in a place almost an hour's drive away from the comforts of a city? But from what little I can hear, it appears Isabella has every right to be optimistic about this sale. If I didn't understand why she was so adamant refusing my offer of help before, I think I do now. To some degree.
We'll be resuming the tour soon. Yes, thank you. Sorry about that. I really need to get this thing going. Lord knows how I'll salvage the situation here. It shouldn't be anything complicated, but still, clients. They can be difficult when they want to be.
Well, I'm a teacher, and we've got some rowdy students, apparently.
Anyway, just look for me when you get here, alright? That shouldn't be too hard to miss.
No problem. Thanks for letting me know about this. Just make sure Isabella stays put, please. Heaven knows how stubborn that girl can be.
Oh, believe me, I know. Don't worry about it. I'll have a few of our staff keep an eye on her for me until you get here.
That's all I'm asking. I appreciate it.
The whole thing ends on a surprisingly pleasant note. If only the same can be said for the news she brought. I allow a brief minute to pass, to ease whatever tension has latched itself firmly into my nerves. But no matter how much I wish for it, my mind stubbornly refuses to do so. My hands are unsteady against the papers I pretend to arrange after. Lucid thoughts, every single ounce of it grimmer than the other, grows with each passing second I linger. Something about this whole thing, along with the sudden unease and nagging worry, screams off. Wrong. This isn't the riveting tale I've hoped to step into today. Even on a rush, getting everything in order before leaving takes nearly a good quarter hour. By the time I make it out of the classroom, the commotion has already died down, dwindling to mere echoes and distant laughters. Well, it was Friday afternoon, right? From the nearby room, melodies from a rehearsing band drifts freely into the air, filling the almost empty hallway with their warm, lively tunes. Any other day, I'll stop, bask in the music, and enjoy what little peace it brings. Not today, however. My steps are brisk and sure as I march to Edward Hall's exit. The sooner I confirm Isabella's okay, the sooner I can shake off this niggling feeling. For some reason or another, that single call, of all possible things, has thrown everything off kilter. I'd rather this be over with as quickly as possible. So much that I nearly barrel over a student in my haste. Though perhaps it's really the other way around. Of course it is. Of course it's Kylie. When I look down, a set of eyes, bright and hopeful, stare back at me. Her arms are wrapped around my waist like a vice, and at my attention, a grin spreads over her face. Buenos tardes, Miss Pink.
Hello, Kylie. You know, you aren't supposed to run into people like that.
Sorry, Miss Pink. I don't know why she has no voice, but I suppose I should provide it to her. She loosens her hold on me, but not a hint of guilt or regret appears on her. If anything, it seems the remark only amused her. A smile appears on my face before I can help it, matching the one on her own.
Just remember not to do it again, alright? You could get hurt.
You sound like my mama when she's scolding Rowan, Miss Pink.
I'm sure your mama only means well. I know she'll be worried sick if one of you were to get hurt. Where's your brother anyway? Aren't you two supposed to be heading home now?
Rowan said he's got some stuff he needs to do before we go. I think he's taking too long. But he promised to buy me jelly babies today. If I keep what he's doing a secret from Mama and Papa.
Any chance you'll tell Miss Pink about it?
She shakes her head, both her hands going to her mouth as if to keep a precious secret from spilling out.
I made a promise. She said it's for Tia Luke.
Luke, of course.
Oh, something like a gift?
Like a deal. Tio promised to take him somewhere cool when he's old enough. Rowan's gonna prove he's a grown-up.
Laughter slips free from my lips. The teacher in me wants to give whoever this Tio is a reprimand for bringing about this kind of behavior in children. But if both Suarez kids are so fond of him, there shouldn't be anything to worry about, yes? At any rate, they're nothing but well-behaved, both Kylie and her brother. Rowan, the eldest, may have an occasional odd streak in and out of class, but their parents taught them well. I see no reason to cast any suspicion of bad behavior on them.
As long as it isn't anything dangerous, alright?
It's not. Cross my heart. My drawings are a lot prettier than what he's doing anyway. Tio said so.
Now, see, Luke is a sweetheart.
Do you want to see? I drew one earlier at class.
Is that why you're here?
Not really. I was gonna show it to my friend first. But since it's you, I'm sure she wouldn't mind if you see it before she does.
Oh no. I can't stay right now, Kylie.
Her face falls immediately after the words are out. A small part of me feels responsible for that crestfallen look, but as much as I want to stay a little longer, there's another place I need to be at right now. And frankly, another child to look after. Taking both her hands, I kneel in front of her and muster the most rueful smile I can give. At her age, I'm quite sure she already understands what I'm about to say before they're even out. But, remarkably, she doesn't look away or pout as I'm expecting her to.
I'm sorry. You know what? Rowan has a class with me on Monday around this time. Why don't you drop by again next week? After class? I'll even make sure to wait for you. It's just that I absolutely must leave now. My friend had an accident earlier, and I'm the only one she has here.
What about her mama and papa?
Her family lives really far from here, I'm afraid. Do you remember where Asia is? The southeast part? That's where they are.
Her eyes immediately light up at my question. Just like that, I know I've earned the girl's forgiveness.
Oh, just like Takako.
Who?
My friend. She said she used to live there, only just a little higher than southeast. But she hasn't come home in a long time, so she doesn't remember much about it anymore. Melody says it's weird I talked to her, but I think she's just shy. They could be good friends too! Don't you think so, Miss Pink?
Maybe if you introduce them properly, they will be.
That's what I think. Takako's just lonely. If she makes more friends, she won't be anymore. Is your friend like that too?
A little, possibly. To be honest, sometimes I can't tell with her.
After all, Isabella has always been the kind to hold a smile, even when things have taken a turn for the worse. 5 years and one will think it's enough to know a person. But when you consider it, come to think of it, all these years I've never, not even once, seen her cry. Not over a trivial matter or even when things are tough.
Okay, you can go to her. I'll just show you my drawing next time.
You probably could have shown me your drawing this whole time we had a conversation.
Thank you. Remind me to buy you a huge glass of parfait, alright?
No, I'll get a stomachache. Chicago says so. A small one is okay.
I'll remember that. Say hi to your friend for me.
I will. I'm sure she'd love to meet you too. See you, Miss Pink.
Why does her friend sound so
I'll see you later, Kylie.
shady?
London Bridge is falling down.
She doesn't look back or
falling
wait for any sort of
down,
goodbye from
falling
me.
down. London
With
Bridge
a song
is
and an extra
falling
spring in her
down,
steps,
my
she
fair
bounds
lady.
across the corridor with as much spirit as only a child her age can have. Let's check the journal for a bit. What do we got? Looks like it's further on. Really further on. Here we go. Becca Gales received a phone call from Rose Cooper after class asking her to pick up Isabella Santos from the Ermengarde Mansion. On her way out of school, an excited Kylie Suarez stops her favorite teacher from leaving. Cool. As if the conversation has never taken any downhill turn for her at all. As if there isn't a single thing to worry about in the world. Not long after, she disappears behind a door, leaving behind strains of an old, familiar rhyme lingering in the air. Carefree, unbidden, untroubled moments like this I envy her. And as I resume my hurried pace, a tiny whisper at the back of my mind wishes the same can be said of myself and my own worries. Luxbourne may be a small city, but it's no stranger to hellish rush hour traffic. But, surprisingly, getting out of the city today proves more of a breeze than a hassle. A relief, considering how none of my calls to Isabella made it through. Either the reception's really bad over there, or she's ignoring them on purpose. Both does nothing to ease the disquiet in me. The rest of my drive passes without much incident as soon as I'm out of the busy streets. In less than 30 minutes, the mansion looms ahead of me. Here we are. For all the fuss Isabella made about the house, it remains a thing of beauty. Unlike Luxbourne, the estate and the nearby Anselm village stand as its complete opposite, living and breathing the songs of the old, whispers of a once booming haven lingering in the air. Contemporary inconveniences aside, it's a place I'm glad modernization hasn't wholly touched.
It's just a shame the locals know more of the silly hearsay than the history itself. If I could only knock some sense into these people!
Sadly, complaining is all I can afford to do. As much as I want to give them a piece of my mind, it isn't why I'm here. I don't think these rich types will appreciate getting a lecture from me either. I have as much business with them as they have with me. With a heavy sigh, I give myself one last second to take in the scenery before heading up to the main entrance. Most of the guests are already heading out, though some still linger. It's mainly just to take photos of the house's facade or its various rooms. I pause for a moment, scanning the small crowd gathered at the foyer, looking for any sign of that familiar ponytail among the sea of hats and heads.
No sign of her.
No sign of the other staff or Miss Cooper either. I can certainly look for Isabella on my own, but in a place this big? I'd be lucky if I didn't end up lost or find her before we need to meet with Zachary and Ash tonight. Sighing, I reach for my mobile and redial her number. The gesture, familiar now after so many attempts earlier. If she doesn't answer, I can still try contacting Miss Cooper. I just hope the network reception will cooperate this time. This side of the county had never been popular with the tech-savvy after all. To my relief, it only took 3 unsuccessful tries. After the 4th one, right as it's about to switch to another intercept message, the line finally rings. Silence follows while I wait for her to pick up, the ringing going far too long for my tastes. By now, most of the visitors had already cleared out. All I have for company are the faint murmurs and the eerie calmness left in their wake. A sudden hush settles and gives way to noises louder than they're ever meant to be. Doors creaking and slamming shut in some distant part of the mansion, floorboards groaning under the sheer weight of the house's history. In the now empty hall, they all reverberate with special clarity against the walls. Like this, these old stories seem to almost have a ring of truth to it. I don't get to stray far into that ugly line of thought, however. Not a second later, a click sounds from the other end.
Hello? Isabella?
God.
Miss Cooper called earlier and...
Jesus, we haven't even read the letter yet, and
Isabella? Belle? Are you alright?
without any warning, the call gets cut off. Busy notes blare sharply against the heavy silence. No! Shivering again. But above the noise cutting through the mute air remains the faint cries of a woman. From beyond the foyer. My hand falls to my side as I cast a wary look around, waiting for someone to come running. Surely I can't be the only one here hearing this. There must be still some staff hanging around, checking things out. But no one does. Not even when her sobs turn more frantic and anguished.
Excuse me? Hello? Who's there? Isabella? Isabella? Is that you?
No answer. Growing anxious, I amble over where her cries come from, each step slow and cautious, towards a door on the other end of the room. While I'm far from someone who readily gives in to fear or stories lacking factual basis, the vague, restless feeling I have earlier immediately returns to me. And despite myself, my heart begins to race and my breathing quickens.
Belle? Belle, it's me. Miss Cooper called. Is everything okay?
Abruptly, all of it stops. My whole body tenses, mouth dragging in a ragged breath, ears straining for any other sound yet to come from the other side. But nothing follows. Instead, the quiet only lends itself to the heavy tension in the air, as if every small movement will disturb the fragile stillness hanging in the room. I wait for another second. Then, with caution, I reach for the knob. My fingers barely graze the brass handle when a hand falls on my shoulder.
Excuse me. I am so sorry. I didn't mean to startle you.
No, it's a...
Still reeling, my gaze shifts back to the door, as if any second now the cries will start again, or whoever's inside will burst out of the room. But I don't get to dwell on these. The woman's worried voice breaks through the haze in my mind again, oddly soothing in the thick of my unease. Even if the concerned look comes from a total stranger, finally being in the company of someone else is somehow comforting.
Ma'am? Are you okay?
Oh, no, I'm fine. This is probably just some cold.
Do you need to sit down?
No need. I'm actually looking for a friend.
I wave the mobile in front of her, like the gesture alone explains everything. Vaguely, I note my tight grip on it and quickly slip it into my pocket before she notices. She doesn't need to know.
Well, I'm not really sure if your friend would still be here. We're actually about to close the open house in a few minutes, ma'am.
No worries. She's not a guest here. She works for Briar Realty. Miss Cooper called me earlier. In fact, I'm also looking for her.
Recognition flashes in her eyes, and her worried expression dissolves into a smile at once. It's all I need to know, that I don't have to look elsewhere or venture deeper into the mansion on my own. In some way, I'm not too keen on the latter right now.
Oh, Miss Rebecca Gales, is it?
Yes. Sorry if I'm a bit late.
It's not a problem. I was busy with the open house and a few clients anyway. It's actually a good thing you came when you did. Let's see. Isabella should be here somewhere. I told her to stay put earlier. Girl never listen.
Rose? Rosie? May I have a minute? There's just this one little thing before we go.
It's Hannah. Miss Cooper's head immediately snaps up at the voice. In a blink, a different kind of smile spreads on her face. A smile still, friendly even, but the kind given mainly for the sake of pleasing other people rather than making friends.
Yes, ma'am. I'll be there in a few.
It's an impressive thing to say the least. That level of professionalism. I suppose working years in this kind of business trains you enough to be able to pull that off without batting an eye. It certainly didn't seem to have rubbed off on Isabella, though.
Sorry, could you give me a second? I have to take care of this.
Don't worry about it. I understand. I can wait a few more minutes. Clients, right?
You won't hear anything from me. Priorities, you know? But if you want, you can stay at the parlor in the meantime. I think we have a few refreshments left.
No, thank you. I'm going out with a few friends after this.
Also, should note that Lady Ermengarde is right there on the left, and she blinked in the presence of the ghost. So I think the ghost is her, but of course, I don't know for sure.
Isabella's supposed to join us too. But that depends on how she's doing, of course.
I don't know anything for sure. We just gotta keep going.
Alright, this won't be long, I promise.
But I do like that we're filling in the gaps by exploring each of the characters throughout the whole week in a bit. She throws me an unapologetic look before sauntering over the small group gathered at the entrance. Oh wow, that's a lot of people. A couple, or siblings, and another woman, probably their secretary. So it's got Marianne, Rose, Hannah, and Luke. 4 and pick one frame. Either way, they look no different from the other guests. All 3 of them primly dressed, albeit in a manner significantly simpler than the others. No frills, no extravagance of any form. But their gestures and movements alone speak volumes of their ingrained lifestyle. In their presence, I do what I can to appear inconspicuous on my side of the foyer, Maybe accepting Miss Cooper's offer would have been a much better choice than standing around awkwardly and gaping at them, all while also attempting my best not to listen in on their conversation, although that one proves more difficult with how enthusiastic the blonde woman is. Her voice easily echoes through the walls with only the five of us here. Pretty soon, I find myself being drawn into their talk without meaning to.
Tomorrow? First thing in the morning?
First thing in the morning, ma'am.
The mundane talk isn't what catches my attention, however.
Very well. We'll have our lawyers prepare everything as soon as possible. Let's make this whole thing easier for everyone, shall we? Just let me know if there's anything you need from me. You know how to contact me, yes?
Got your mobile number saved here already.
Good. It's just a matter of time then.
It's a brief moment, a fleeting shift of my
Monday for us, Marianne.
Just please make sure there won't be any other mishaps, ma'am. My team would be more than happy to help you then.
You worry too much. Let me handle those things. Do be thrilled, though. I imagine it's not every day you get projects like this,
I'm so excited to check out the branching story, but I don't want to spoil myself, so I'll have to wait until I finish the game. And the instant I turn my gaze on him, I see it.
Oh, I'm certain Mint's ecstatic, Buttercup.
Wait. There's that shadow around Luke?
Aren't you, Marianne?
And why did he say mint? That's his code word for Marianne and for him as whiskey.
You know, we could all celebrate this with a few drinks. Why don't we?
I suddenly feel really uneasy.
In fact, there's this really excellent Irish pub I visited a few days ago.
Looming, hovering over his shoulders, drawn to him like a moth to a flame, a dark blur. No, a shadow.
I think I'll pass on that, sir. I have more important matters to attend to.
Darling, your liver. You already had a glass today, and apparently a few days ago as well.
I knew I saw something around Luke before.
How many times do we have to remind you? Doctor's orders, remember?
Such a shame. You never let me do anything fun.
And we're losing our hearing. But as I try to make sense of it, a heavy feeling descends over my whole body. It happens without warning, forcing me to close my eyes. The sensation creeps to every part of me, crawling under my skin and draining me little by little of any strength. Before I know it, my hand is gripping the nearby door for support. The sudden nausea drowns out their voices and what little sound there is, all except for the whispers and laughters. Judging, mocking, taunting. Muffled, inaudible words bearing down on me like a death sentence. They wrap around my neck and limbs, binds tightening with every syllable, every utterance. And with each draw of the breath I take, they drag me down slowly, almost painfully into a bottomless abyss. On and on and on, till the sound turns into mere distant echoes. Until suddenly, it shatters.
Well, what are we waiting for? Are we done here?
His voice rips through the fog like a sharp blade and my eyes snap open. That fog is gone, as well. When I look to them again, it's gone. Thanks, Rebecca, that's exactly what I just
Just
said.
a second, darling. Send my regards to Isabel, please.
See, the bloody thing says story update, and I'm just curious what happened.
Oh,
What did I
girl.
affect?
Please let her know she doesn't have to worry and tell her to get some rest. Anyway, we're looking forward to seeing you tomorrow.
Likewise, ma'am.
No shadows or dark clouds, only amicable smiles and cordial handshakes. The usual pleasantries, as Miss Cooper leads them out of the mansion like a graceful host. None of the group seems to have noticed it, and even as I force my breathing to calm down, keep my eyes trained on their backs and wait for something to happen, it doesn't come back. She returns a moment later. Gently, she closes the great doors behind her. There's a smile on her lips and an extra skip in her step when she walks back to me. Whatever she was discussing with the group had put her in a good mood. Even she appears to have not observed anything odd. Was I just seeing things?
Glad that was over. It's been a long day. I thought for sure we're going to... hey, are you sure you're doing okay? You look a bit green.
So is your hair, Rose.
It's all good. I'm actually still recovering from a cold. Weather's been crazy lately.
That must be it. The weather, the stupid cold, and the friendly warnings I'm too stubborn to listen to. As much as I hate to admit it, Isabella's right. I was, and still am, a little feverish when she visited me at school this morning. The medicine helped, of course, but only some. Although it's not like I can't function. It did get better after lunch, and I was able to go through my schedule like the usual. Now I'm not so sure. However, I can't keep acting like I've seen some sort of apparition when it's anything but. I simply must have listened too many times to Isabella last week. My fever-muddled mind has started to confuse things. If this doesn't let up, I just need another visit to my doctor, plain and simple. Though I do hope it won't get worse. We did promise to watch Zachary's film together.
I know what you mean. I've been complaining to Isabel.
You said Isabel? It's Isabella, man. Get it right, guys.
It doesn't seem to affect her much, though. Must be because she grew up in the tropics. Anyway, shall we? She's probably hanging out with the rest of the catering staff.
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised she's there. She eats like 10 hungry men when she isn't feeling well. Lead the way.
Never heard that before. With a small nod, she gestures for me to follow. I do so without much thought, finally putting everything in the back of my mind. The entire visit took a whole 24 minutes. My trip to the mansion, as it turns out, is a useless endeavour in itself. Let's check out the journal. What do we got? A lot of things happening on the Friday. Obviously, this is where it all started. While waiting at the mansion, Rebecca overheard a brief conversation between the right couple, their interior designer, and estate agent Rose Cooper. It was discovered afterwards that Isabella had already left a few hours ago. Nice. Great. Isabella's no longer there. Left shortly before I arrived. Or at least, that's what the few staff who saw her assumed. None of them knew where she went, but I can take a few guesses. There are only a number of places in Luxembourg she frequents, and well, she's never been the complex kind. It doesn't really take a genius to figure it out. Still, it's odd she left on her own. She could have at least waited for Miss Cooper. It would have saved her having to pay the cab's fare twice today.
And right after she was told to stay put. I mean, who does that?
I'd be pretty annoyed too, to be honest.
Oh, sod off! You don't own the road!
God! In the end, all Miss Cooper could give me were a string of apologies for my trouble and a request to let her know when I find Isabella. The whole affair didn't even last long. I probably spent more time travelling back and forth. Soon enough, I'm weaving my way back to downtown Luxembourg, worried sick, and on top of that, maybe a little annoyed. Whether at the unexpected turn of events or at Isabella herself, I'd rather not think about it for now. Not when I'm already running late for Zachary's film. Besides, I'm perfectly sure that's where I'll find her. As one would expect, people are already gathered at the movie house when I get to it. The small avenue where it's located has been closed off early from any passing traffic, to make way for the avid moviegoers who are sure to crowd the venue. I have to park almost a street away, and walk the remaining distance because of it. Looking for them has taken a while in the crowd this big, but I eventually spot them near the entrance. Thanks to Zachary, mostly. And like I've surmised, Isabella's with them.
I knew it.
Wasting no time, I march over that little group. Words filled with concern tumble out of my mouth before I can stop myself.
Isabella! Oh, thank goodness! Becca, you're just in time!
An odd expression crosses her face as I hold it with both hands, but I ignore it in favor of getting a good look at her, forcing her to keep still and fix her gaze at me.
Becca, you're squishing my face.
How are you? Are you alright?
Why wouldn't I be?
There doesn't seem to be any visible injury, nor does she appear to be in pain. Apart from a confused frown at my questions, she looks pretty much like how she would any other day. Even so, you can't really tell those things with her at first glance. The last time she got sick, she never bothered to call anyone. Even me, who lives right next door. If I hadn't checked on her then, she probably would have died on her bed with the rest of us none the wiser. It's one thing we laugh about now, but moments like those also teaches you something about a person. If anything, it has given me more reason to constantly worry about her. And the moment a familiar name comes up, I know my concerns right now aren't completely baseless.
Rose called me earlier.
Her expression swiftly changes, and gently as she can, Isabella pushes my hands away. Yet even before she says anything, I already have a hunch how this whole thing will play out.
Oh, no, everything's good. Rose covered for me at work today.
That's not what I'm talking about. How's your head?
Then and there, the whole conversation goes down as I've imagined. She dodges my hand when I reach for the back of her head, intending to check the said injury myself. That's so cute. Even makes a show of hiding behind Zachary just to avoid me. Instantly, what's supposed to be a simpler inquiry dissolves into a shameless game of tag. Shouting and chasing like none of us can be bothered to act like the full-grown adults we're all supposed to be. Including Ashton. I wouldn't put it past Isabella, but Ash, out of everyone... In fact, if that stupid smirk on his face tells me anything, he finds this whole mess amusing. Oh, for the love of...
Isabella, this isn't a laughing matter.
She did look pale when I saw her.
Wow, thanks a lot, Ashton, you traitor. I'll get you back for this, just you wait.
What? I'm just saying it as it is. If you mentioned this earlier, we wouldn't be having this conversation right now.
There's a moment's pause. My hand stills midair as my attention shifts to Ashton and the words he leaves hanging between the four of us. He doesn't meet my eye. I don't even think he's aware of what he said. But the meaning in each syllable alone is clear. And they echo. They sting. They burn.
I'm sorry. Saw her?
Yeah, they arrived together. Bella looked fine to me then.
Of course. Sorry, I didn't mean to skip you, Zachary. Of course! Why else would Isabella leave on her own after being told to stay put, after that little chat about money this morning? Something close to silence falls while I mull over their words, both what's already been said and what's left unspoken. When I do find my voice, it only reeks with nothing but bitter and pleasant thoughts. Thoughts I quickly stamp out before they surface. Thoughts I hide the best I can in the deepest parts of my mind, locking it away for no one to see.
Oh, that's good. At least she didn't have to travel alone, right? At least. Good.
That's a terrible cover-up, Rebecca. Oh my god, just admit you have a crush on Ash.